Oh You Thought Podcast, the place where you get a heavy dose of positivity, sarcasm, knowledge, and ratchetness. Enjoy the show. It's that time. It's time for another episode of Oh You Thought Podcast. And yeah, your girl is running around here not being prepared. I don't have a verse for this week. I still plan on doing the Nipsey Hussle for my next verse, but I just haven't had time to just really learn the song. So I promise it's coming. But I have a ton of stuff I want to talk about. So let's go ahead and just jump right on in. Oh, you thought that my boy, one of my favorites from the NBA, now retired, Chris Broussard, would not get Jason Whitlock all the way together. And he did, and I was here for it. Now, let me just preface this with saying I was a little concerned about Chris Broussard because the first time that Jason was talking out of the side of his neck, he didn't check him. And I don't know Chris Broussard like that. From just seeing the stuff that he stands for, I was like, why didn't he check Chris Broussard the first time? So I'm finally getting my day of reckoning through Chris Broussard. And so let's take a listen to this clip of Chris Broussard. And it's from Speak for Yourself. I believe this is Jason's show that he has. How does this man have a show? But yeah, let's just take a listen to this clip. And please know that I edited the clip because it was really long. And so I chopped up the clip for the important parts, for the stuff you need to hear and understand. So let's take a listen.
Could lead to something worse. And LeBron James has children, all right, a 12-year-old son and maybe a 9 or 10-year-old son. He's also thinking about other incidents. Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, Terrence Crutch. Pointing out obstacles and facts is not embracing. It's not obstacle. That's an obstacle. It's an obstacle white people in America don't have to deal with. They never have. Their houses never get vandalized. They never hear disrespectful things to them. When pointing out facts is not embracing victimhood, LeBron James clearly does not think of himself. You start by saying racism exists, but then every time a black person you shoot it down. Because again, someone spray painting something on a millionaire's home. He's not a victim in that situation.
Now, I already don't like Jason Whitlock for several reasons, but I dislike the fact that this man has a platform to where he can spill his narratives for all of white America to see and hear, and they think he's one of the good ones. He's different. He gets it. There isn't any racism. Yes, only poor people deal with racism. Rich people don't have these problems. Rich black people don't have these problems. But yet, a rich black person had the word nigger spray painted on his home. So you want to say he's not included in the racism that black people experience every single day? And the fact that Chris Broussard was naming off young people that have lost their lives due to police brutality, and his rebuttal that Jason had was poor people, after every single name that Chris Broussard named off, he had the audacity to say poor people. These are poor people problems. Chris Broussard, he also went on to name a professor in that clip, but I cut it out for just contextual reasons. And Jason, he had no true rebuttal for that. So you can't include all of one type of group of people in one little bucket and say, because you're poor, you will always experience racism. And because you're rich, if you do experience racism, it's negated because you're still rich at the end of the day. That's basically what his hypothesis is on racism. And I think it's so crazy and ludicrous. And I think it's so crazy and ludicrous that some of these black people that, I won't even say get into these positions of power, because I know regular black people just like me who act just like him. And he's an Uncle Ruckus. And if you don't know who I'm referencing, look up the cartoon The Boondocks. And just watch a couple of clips of Uncle Ruckus and you'll be like, you know what? That is Jason. How dare you try to negate what LeBron went through as nothing because he's rich? And it deals with everything because he's black. So how dare you minimize what that man went through? And I'm so happy that Chris Broussard, spoke up and gave very, very good points on why this is just not a poor people problem and why we have to still have dialogue about racism. And this is a perfect example of how it doesn't matter what tax bracket that you're in, which I said last week. You're not exempt from racism if you're black or a person of color or anything like that. Like, it can happen. And you would just think, with this happened to LeBron James, that more people would just be like, it's really bad. It's really bad out here. If it happens to LeBron, it can happen to anyone. That should have been the narrative. Because people do like to put rich people in a bucket like they're safe, like nothing can happen to them. And this goes to show you. And if you're living in a bubble like it seems like Jason is, you don't get it. And I don't think he'll ever get it. And it's really unfortunate that people are so out of touch with their people that they just don't get it. And it's really, really sad. On to some ratchetness. Oh, you thought that Tamar, Toya, Reginae, and Tiny didn't have time to get in these Twitter streets and start some trouble. And so I was on Twitter yesterday and I saw Tamar trending and I was just like, what did this lady say? And, I'm a Tamar fan to a certain degree at this point. I feel like every day I'm getting off the Tamar train and it makes me a little bit sad because I like her ratchetness. She's funny to me and love her singing, but she is very extra very often. And so she posted to me what seemed like a nice, nasty, filled with shade, a so-called apology to Tiny, which I don't understand why you just don't call her, text her. Maybe she's blocked or something. I don't know. And so she posts a throwback picture of Tiny and T.I., and I'm going to take you through all the mess. I'm going to read you Tamar's post. I'm going to read you Toya's rebuttal, which is really good. And I'm going to read you Reginae's rebuttal and go from there. So, Tamar, I've been thinking, and I'm reading like I think Tamar would say it. So bear with me. Although I don't feel like social media is the best place to work out personal issues, sometimes it can be the most effective way to get your loved one's attention. I love you guys and Tiny. Since I was 19 years old, I would have never dreamed that none of us would be in this position. Against public perceptions, we know it's not because of that show or lies that Paperback Toya, did y'all catch that? Paperback Toya has said, or anyone else who has had something to say about the disagreement you and I have had. Because it's simply our personal disagreement. I love you and all my God babies with all my heart, and you know this. I also love your husband because he is also my family also. How about we all sit down and talk and declare our new love and mutual respect for each other, and I'll pay for and sing at your new vow renewal ceremony. Now pause. I thought it was definitely done that T.I. and Tiny were getting a divorce. I haven't heard nothing about them renewing their vows or nothing. But we'll press on. Life is too short, and I'm okay with ignoring single, miserable, hateful friends who want to see you and I at odds and instigating feuds with you and your husband. How about we all come together, let it all go, and bring you two who were the closest to me and two people who share so much love together, lean on each other to bring things back together again. Who said it would be easy? But love and forgiveness is easier than being mad and full of hate. So with that being said, Tiny, I'm sorry for my part in the hurt. And this is a classic Tamar. If you watch the Braxtons, she always apologized for her part. She never says what she did, but she says for my part in the hurt, and want to have my best friend and her family, including all our kids and Tip, all back together again. So we let it breathe for a couple of moments, and I'm reading through some of the comments, and I see the reason why Tamar called Toya paperback Toya is because Toya lied about her in her book that she published recently, right? So we get that piece. Then Toya Ray, so petty, so petty. She posts a horrible picture of Tamar, first of all, to just set the tone of the shade that she's getting ready to provide. And she says, paperback Toya, really, bitch? What does your non-sincere apology and fake-ass public outreach have to do with me? You are the fakest bitch I know. You wrote all of that pathetic, attention-seeking bullshit, but you conveniently forgot to tell them why you're really mad. Speak up. Tell them why you and your so-called best friend of 19 years fell out. Why didn't you tell them how petty you really are? What type of bitch gets mad because a friend posts a birthday message about another friend? I have your answer, though. The same petty ass bitch that got mad at everyone who went on the Real Talk show that she was fired from. I'm sick of you popping off on everybody and then playing victim with your over-the-top, under-the-table ass. You talk shit about your own sisters. You are disrespectful, disloyal, jealous, attention fiend. Your desire to be front and center and have all of the attention even spilled over into the church. People trying to hear the Lord's word, and you want the people to watch you work. Fake ass praise. Fuck you all days and always, Tamar. Love always. Paperback Toya. My new book will be dropping in July. I have time today. So after that, the Twitter went nuts with the whole paperback Toya comment and all that wonderfulness. And then Tiny, with her nice self, she posts a reply. She says, "Oh, Tamar, I love you to pieces, wrong or right. I've always and always will consider you one of my closest, dearest, longest friends I've got. That will never change no matter how long it takes us to get back right. You are forever family to me. Time to kiss and make up." And so a little more time passes, and Reginae, Toya's daughter, had time as well. And she said, when you look like this, and they look like no, they stay mad. P.S. Y'all can say stay in a child's place all y'all want. I'ma ride for mine regardless. And yeah, and so it really got to just a really, really horrible point. And later on that day, Tiny came back out and said, hey, we shouldn't be on social media doing this. We need to get past this and talk off of social media. So maybe by this point, they've had a discussion, they've moved past it, and maybe they're in a better place, because I haven't seen anything else come from Tamar. So hopefully they'll be able to work it out, because they were all friends. But I thought this was like the pettiest mess that I read in a long, long time, and it kept me entertained. And I hate to say stuff like that, but if you display your mess for the world, I'm getting my popcorn and I'm going to kind of just partake in that. So with that, this one was a little bit long this week as far as Oh You Thought moments. And so welcome to episode 13 of Oh You Thought podcast. I am your host, Fallon, coming to you from Houston, Texas, H-Town, hold it down. And I'm really surprised that I'm recording today because it's been another like trying week for me as far as my health and everything, and sick a couple of days, went back to work today, dealing with those problems. And it's just like, I just want to be free. And no, I'm not going to elaborate on the issues that I keep having at this job. But like I said, like once it's official as far as me being laid off, paperwork signed, checks cleared, that following week, there will be an episode where basically all the Oh You Thought moments will just throw nothing but the sweetest shade to that company. I almost said the name. I was thinking the name in my head and I almost said it. But guess what, kids? I'll say the name whenever that day comes, and I'm just going to read them left and right like the biggest book ever. And so hopefully you're having a good week. It's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday for those that work Monday through Friday, that live for the weekends like me. So we're almost there. And I hope you really enjoy this episode. I feel like I have like a ton of stuff to talk about this week, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. And let's start the show. A positive mind equals a positive life. When you let go of all the negativity, that is the ultimate glow up. It's time for the positivity moment of the show. Positivity moment of the show. I want to start with a quote from one of my favorite motivational pastors. He is a pastor, but I like to call him a motivational pastor. That's no knock or anything to him because I love the messages that he provides. And this is a really good one. It comes from Joel Osteen, and it says, "People are funny. They'll say you're beautiful one day, and I don't care for you the next. Get your approval, your value, your sense of worth from God. He says you're a masterpiece. He says you are one of a kind. You're a prized possession." And I just love that. I just eat up positive things. And I saw this quote earlier in the week, and it came at a good moment. And I was just like, this kind of piggybacks on what I talked on last week. A little bit in the positivity moment as far as rejection. Like, you have to be able to deal with it. Like, it's part of life to be rejected, and that's okay. And I think if you hold on to this quote, it'll make your life a little bit easier when you deal with the times when you're rejected. And so I have a random fact that I want to share. And I don't know. I'm constantly like just looking at stuff, researching stuff, and I'm always looking for a way to be constantly or close to being constantly happy. And so I found this fact, and it says that laughing stimulates neurotransmitters in the brain that improves learning and increases attention span. And this is spot on because there again, I can connect the dots to my personal life. Wasn't feeling good today as far as like work, and still feeling a little bit sick due to medication and whatnot. And so I was talking to someone, and he's just so crazy. He's always been crazy, but he made me laugh. And it's just like, and he knew what he was doing. It's just like, it's so funny how laughter can really just change the mood that you're in. And it really does feel like a rush of just this good energy that flows through your body. That's how it feels for me. And so I talked to him during lunch, and I felt better. And I talked to him when I got off work, and there again, he's being very silly, and I'm laughing like constantly. And it's just like, by the time I get home, I'm really in a different mood. And I have him to credit for that. And so I'm very, very thankful for the friends that I have and all that there to just, they have no clue how much they keep me going with their positive things, him with his craziness, and just, I don't know. I always just pick little jewels from different people. And I also talked to my mom today, and it's kind of ironic. Told her I had been sick and that I went to the doctor and everything. And, XYZ happened at the doctor, and I only told 2 people the outcome of me going to the doctor. And it's just, my mom sounded so happy today. And me and my mom are really, really close. And I tell her everything. And so I had said I wasn't going to tell her when I found out Tuesday. And then when I talked to her today, I was like, no, she needs to know. Because if she finds out, she might feel some type of way. But I was like, after talking to her, and we had this good conversation about my little sister's wedding and other things, I was like, I can't tell her or whatever. But I don't know. We deal with things, and you just have to learn how to deal with them. And that's just my constant battle, just to share my story. And it's doable. Like, you have to look at all the positive things. And so day started out bad. And so I was able to grab like a ton of positivity to make me feel better and well enough to want to record and share myself with y'all. And so you got to just push through, like just always just push through. You don't have to have a ton of friends. You don't have to have a ton of close family members in your circle, but make sure you have a couple of people you can count on to make you laugh. And if you so happen not to have someone that can make you laugh, like just watch some good comedy and just laugh it up and get happy. And it'll change your mood. I promise you. So, hot topics for the week. I feel like it's a ton of stuff I wanted to talk about, but I had to cut some stuff out. And I want to start with like all the sad stuff and try to move in like a positive direction. And that's how you should set up your life too, right? Like I just said, had a bad day, got better, and you just get back to the peaks and valleys. And so I want to bring more awareness to a local story that happened March the 28th, and it involved John Hernandez and a deputy and the deputy's husband. Apparently Hernandez was at a restaurant and he was using the bathroom outside of the restaurant, and the off-duty deputy's husband saw Hernandez and he thought, you know what? I'm going to play superhero today, and I'm going to go tell him that he shouldn't be peeing outside. And so he goes there. Somehow, some way, that altercation gets turned up, and we now have the video that's been going around for a little minute now showing the end result of John Hernandez. I will keep saying his name because his life did matter. It mattered. And he shouldn't have died for something like this. So in the video, it's a horrible video to me. You see the deputy's husband on top of Hernandez. Hernandez is struggling, and it's a typical thing. You can tell that this young man is struggling to breathe. Everyone around him is in a panic. But why do you feel like this is an offense that you need to jump on him? Your wife is a deputy. She didn't jump on him. So why are you jumping on him as a citizen? So I guess you were trying to make a citizen's arrest for someone peeing outside. And so I take issue with that. And that's the problem that a lot of these cops carry around. They feel like because they have that badge, they have all the power in the world to play God that day. And You can hate me for saying that. I really don't care. Because as a person of color, I'm tired of seeing videos like that. I'm tired of seeing families cry on TV because their loved one is not here because he was choked to a point to where he could no longer breathe and later died at a hospital. So I'm tired of seeing that. I'm tired. And this is just, evidence of how we all need to just band together. When right is right and wrong is wrong, we have to stick together. And I just think it's unfortunate. And so here in Houston, they've been protesting, trying to get the deputy and the deputy's husband charged. And this is just straight murder to me. It should just never get that far. At a certain point, you should have just tapped out and said, you know what? It's not really worth it. How is it bothering me that this young man was using the bathroom outside? Was it killing me? Was he peeing on me? Like, why was it your business? And that's what I take issue with. And it correlates basically to the next clip that I'm getting ready to play that deals with racism. And it deals with why Colin Kaepernick was taking a knee. He took a knee for a person like John Hernandez, who no longer has a voice, to speak up for what really happened that night when this deputy's husband decided he wanted to play cop. He wanted to be a superhero. And now John Hernandez is dead because of this. So I want to play this clip from one of my favorite people in the world right now is Shannon Sharp. He has no filter, but in a good way. He has no issue with speaking his mind, and he's on a major network. So I give all props to him. And basically, after the LeBron James situation happened, he recently was on TV and he gave his thoughts on that. And I want you to hear this clip as well. So let's take a listen to that.
32 teams should have picked up the phone and called Colin Kaepernick. Because this is what Kaepernick was taking a knee for. Yep. Everybody kept saying, he's making $16 million. Why does he care? LeBron is making $77 million. And I'm not saying money, wealth, and fame should exclude you from anything. Yep. But if this happened to LeBron, what about the guys who just walking down the street in Chicago or New York or rural South Georgia? What chance does he have if it happens to him? Colin Kaepernick took the knee so people that couldn't be seen while they were standing could be seen. And now they're telling Colin Kaepernick, sit your ass down. After you saw this on this man's gate, after LeBron did what he did, how can any owner say they can't see what Colin Kaepernick did and why he did it? You keep making it about the flag. You keep making it about the veterans. But it's bigger than that. I value life.
And just under a minute, he gave us so many jewels. And it's just like, how can you still not get it? How can you still not get what Kaepernick has been fighting for? How can you not understand what our ancestors have been fighting for? How can you not understand what the civil rights movement was about? How can you not understand how our ancestors being slaves still has a trickle down effect on our mindset and how we are still treated in this country? How can you not connect the dots as a human being that people just need to be treated correctly? And a couple of the takeaways that I took from it, and I just need y'all really to listen to that clip a couple of times and just really get in your spirit, what he's saying. And it's just one of the things that really just stuck out to me, and these are conversations that I've had with other people, that people put too much value on the flag for this country. And I have total respect for the vets and for the current men and women that are choosing to serve for this country and give their life potentially to protect our country. And salute to the vets that didn't have a choice and had to serve for this country. I appreciate your service. I'm sorry. And so with that being said, like I said, we put too much value on a flag. What does the flag really mean? Should a flag really hold that much weight? Should a song really hold that much weight? Like, I get it. It's supposed to represent the country, but this country is not well. So do we really want to take stock in a song, a flag? And my favorite statement from this clip was, I value life, not a piece of cloth. I value life, not a piece of cloth. And that is what Kaepernick has been taking a knee for, doing good deeds around the country, because he values and understands the value of a person's life. And, you know, racist people and people afraid of change, they want to put all the value on that flag. And no, all that value should not be placed on that flag. If we start to value life and morals and the things that this country should be built on, we would be okay. But too many people are raised in the wrong mindset to be hateful. And it's not just a white thing. Like, racism truly has no color. But people of color go through racism more than anyone else. And when more people accept that, that's another turning point for this country. And I would like to see a true full turn, that we really move past being racist in this country. On the positive side, I found this last week, but I didn't get a chance to talk about it. But one of my favorite rappers, Big Sean, he recently donated $15,000 to help the homeless. And that's another issue in this country, all around the world. There's too many homeless people, and a lot of the homeless people are vets. And I take issue in that. It's just like, there's so many people making all this money, millions of dollars, and they promise that it will be a trickle down effect. This is something we have heard for years on top of years, right? And it doesn't trickle down. How come there aren't certified programs set up to really take care of these veterans when they come back to this country after they gave their time to serve for this country? It's just no reason why these vets should suffer the way they do, as far as healthcare and being on the streets, not being able to find a job. It should just be some kind of it sets you up with everything, and you should be able to live a nice life, not just like working poor, but a nice life. Because there again, as a people, or I'm not going to say as a people, as those people that get mad at Kaepernick for taking a knee because they feel like he's disrespecting the veterans. Well, how come you're not up in arms about these vets not being able to pay their bills and have constant good health care? How come I don't see news stories like that? But y'all mad over a knee to bring awareness. I'm sorry. I'm going to get off of my political soapbox for a second, because I'm tired. I'm already worn from talking about all that mess. Another one of my favorite people, I love to listen to his podcast every single day, Jalen Rose. He has a TV show that premiered this week, and no, I haven't watched it yet, but I saw the commercial with him and Kobe, and it was so funny when they were poking fun at the 81 points that Kobe scored on Jalen. That's going to be a forever sore spot for him. And I feel bad for him, but I always liked Jalen Rose as a basketball player on TV and on his podcast. And so I really enjoy him. And so, Kobe, he takes a shot by saying, I want 81 olives in my drink. And it was just so funny. So if you haven't seen that commercial, find it. I promise you, it's so funny. Jay-Z, he had Twitter in a little frenzy a couple days ago, yesterday, and he was promoting something on Tidal. It was 444, right? And, people on Twitter are like, oh, is something dropping at 444? Okay. 444 passes. And I feel like it was like the next day or later on that night where we see the trailer for a movie. So no new music, but it's been a lot of talk saying that he has been working on music, and I'm ready for another Jay-Z album. A lot of people like to say, well, what is Jay-Z going to talk about today? He has a lot he can talk about today. And I feel like Jay-Z, he always does a great job of showing he has grown and he's still being relevant in today's music. And I totally think he could put out another album and it'd be totally good, be number one, and then of course go on tour for it so I can go see him in concert again. All those great things. So I'm very confident that even though we know that 444 is just a movie, I am praying that we get an album from Jay-Z this year. Not next year, this year. And so his buddy, Nas, is his album already done or what? Because on the Khaled album that he guest appeared on, he said that album was done. But where is it at, Nas? Like, for real, like, where is your album? And so recently, he was quoted as saying that he's like 2 weeks away from it being done, right? And that the album should be dropping this summer. And I'm here for it, which it would totally make sense because even though we knew he was supposed to go on tour last year with Lauryn Hill, and it didn't happen. And so now that they're actually going on tour together, it would make sense that he has something new to promote, not just old stuff. And so, the summer is a few more months that we have left in the summer. So I really do want to hear a Nas album. Like, if we can get a Nas album and a Jay-Z album in this year alone, I would be so happy, so happy to have two legends, like living legends, like drop new music. I would be so happy. It's a lot of like musical news going on as far as like people getting jobs and, album talk, movie talk. One of my favorite producers that I feel like some people try to sleep on, which I don't know why, No ID. He has been named the executive VP of Capitol Music. So that's really good for him. Like, he's going to be responsible for A&R, which would be great for him, and production, which would be amazing for the artists that are lucky enough to work for him. So I'm definitely interested in seeing how this will flow. And I hope we get a lot of great artists from this move. And so I'm ready. Now, I'm a little sad to mention this, but I get it. Like, he's moving in different directions. And when I say I'm sad, I'm talking about Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino. And his next album that he drops will be his last under Childish, why can't I talk? Gambino. And yeah, that would be it for him. And, he has like a lot of options on the table. Like, he's doing movies, TV show, producing other shows. Like, he has a lot of stuff. So I'm very happy to see his growth. But there again, I feel like a lot of people sleep on him as far as being a rapper. And so if you don't know his catalog, go check out his catalog and just get familiar with it before he drops his last album, because if you don't know his catalog, you are missing out. I promise you that. On the ratchet side, the petty side, whatever side, we have to talk about your boy, Tristan Thompson. And we have to talk about his outfit. Now, first of all, I'm not talking about sports this week, so he's getting, glumped in with all my regular stuff. And I'm disappointed in the Cavs, first off, before I rip into Tristan. And the Cavs, they almost had it. And shout out to one of my favorite basketball players as of right now, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, like they really made that game possible. And of course, LeBron did what LeBron does. And so no special shout out to him, but Kyrie, he really came through in clutch moments last night. And Kevin Love was defensively solid last night. And so I was very proud to see them put in the work, but it wasn't enough. And I just think that Golden State right now, they're in like game mode. They're in murder mode. They're ready to get this shit over with. And yeah, like, I hate to say it, like, I feel like the Cavs are going to go ahead and get swept, and they're going to get put out of their misery Friday night. And if they're able to turn around, I would be very happy, because I was definitely going for the Cavs. And no, I don't want to talk about it. I've already talked about it 2 episodes that I've transferred my fanship over to the Cavs until we start again. And so I don't know. It would be really, really wonderful if they could just really come back from being down 3-0. Like, that would be pretty amazing if they could do that. So I pray that they can get it together just for kicks. But going back to Thompson, this dude showed up to the game in these tight ass jeans. Like, no, I don't want to see like my dude in like baggy jeans. No. But I do want to see my man in fitted jeans. And when I say fitted jeans, let's go back to the statement. And I don't know if I said it on the podcast or talking to one of my friends. Like, if you are a man, you should not have to wiggle to get in your jeans or get out of your jeans. If you do that as a man, them pants are too tight, bruh. And you need to go up one more size. Because that's a female trait. Like, that's something I do when I'm wearing my tight jeans where you can see like the creases in my kneecaps. Them tight jeans, like, I got to hold on to something. I got to wiggle. I got to sit down to get out of those jeans. Like, but there again, also, like, there's different fits and cuts of jeans. And a lot of people, like, let's go with females. Like, if you're not built the right way, you can't wear true skinny jeans because it's going to make you big up top, small on the bottom. You have to know the right kind of jeans to wear. And that was a problem for Thompson. He's not fat, but he's a big guy in a different way. And so he had on these tight, skinny jeans, and all of his attention was at the bottom because you had on these boots, these tight pants, and you got a little bubble butt too. And he didn't even know how to walk. And that was another thing. Like, maybe if he would have walked a little better, maybe the outcome would have been slightly better for him, but he couldn't walk. Jeans too tight. Cowboy boots on. Just no swag. Like, I don't know, but he's not one of my favorite dressers anyway. He struggles with his dressing, if you ask me. But I was very disappointed, and I wasn't surprised that Twitter was having a field day, saying that he was wearing, what's the name of Chloe's company? Is it Good American? Whatever it's called, her jean company, that he had on a pair of her jeans. Like, I almost died when I saw that. But yeah. This made me really, really, really happy. And shout out to my friend Jerome who didn't like Wonder Woman. And I'm sorry, Jerome, I'm putting you on blast because I just feel like you're totally wrong. Like, everyone is in love with this movie. It's such a good movie. I want to go see it again. And the news that made me happy was it's going to be a part 2. And I actually said this to my coworker on Monday. I was like, oh my gosh, like, they need to have a part 2. And so it was confirmed. Like, they got the numbers in. They were happy with the numbers. So it's a go. It's going to be a Wonder Woman 2. So I'm just so ready. Like, I think this has been like the best, like, DC movie that I've seen, because it really gives you like a Marvel feel. And so I'm excited for Wonder Woman 2, and maybe I'll watch Wonder Woman again this weekend. So I don't know, but if you haven't seen it, go see it. Like, it's so good. No matter if you're female or male, they're going to cater to you in that movie from start to finish. So check it out. It's that time. One gotta go. Which one is it? One gotta go. One gotta go. This week, I'm tapping into the battle of the male R&B groups. And I'm looking at my list, and, you know, I always think that I have it together as far as like one gotta go, like easy. I'll get rid of XYZ. But when I start thinking about who I have on the line, I'm just like, I don't know. So first up, I have New Edition. And you know what? I just know, like, it's no way in my mind could I ever rationalize getting rid of New Edition ever in life. So it's not happening. Jodeci, classic group, classic albums, classic songs for a straight to the room type of music, right? Boys to Men, they can sing their ass off. Dru Hill, they presented a different kind of vibe, and they could sing. Most of their music was all right. I love Dru Hill. Jagged Edge, there again, same time period basically as Dru Hill. Good albums. Them twins could sing. Great albums. I feel like all their albums are still a go for me. Last on the list, I have 112. Slim could sing. They have Cupid, Peaches and Cream, Your Letter. I don't know. So New Edition is staying. Too many classic songs, and they're still currently working today. So they're staying. Jodeci, they're staying. Boys to Men, they are staying. Dru Hill. Jagged Edge is not leaving the list. Dru Hill is going to stay. So with that, I have to get rid of 112, and this is why. Just thinking about Dru Hill compared to 112, Dru Hill, they have more hits than 112 to me. They have more hits, right? If you don't agree, let me know. Like, with this list right here, New Edition, Jodeci, Boys to Men, Dru Hill, Jagged Edge, and 112, who would y'all get rid of and why? OhYouThoughtFallon at gmail.com and let me know. Again, you spell my name Fallon. I keep it real because I'm from the South Side. I plan to rep the South till the day that I die. That's so Houston. So there's some stuff going on in the city this weekend that I want to tell y'all about. First up is one of my favorite live bands from Houston that I haven't seen in a while. I'm sorry, y'all, but Soul Creatures. They have a show this Saturday at the Galveston Island Brewery, and it starts at 5 p.m. So if you don't know their music, look them up on Facebook, Instagram, all those wonderful outlets, and check out their music. I promise you, like, if you like live music, if you like funk, check them out. So Lake Houston Art Festival, for those of you that like artsy things, you know, I'm into art and stuff, and I haven't been to a museum in a while, but they're having an art festival over the weekend, and it's going to be at the Town Center Park in Kingwood. So if you're into art, check it out. Downtown nightlife. The Alley Cat Bar is having a date night on Saturday, and it's going to be jazz versus R&B music. So they always have like really, really dope nights at Alley Cat. And I always say I'm going to go, but I just never go because that old person gene in me is just like, I would rather sit here and do nothing than go downtown. But no, like, it's a really dope bar. It's like in the cut, not big. And yeah, check them out. Saturday, jazz versus R&B. If you live in Pearland, close to Pearland, the Pearland Farmers Market, they're having an event out at the Pearland Town Center Mall. And so that's on Saturday. So if you're into, fresh fruit and produce, go check it out. Last thing on the docket is one of my favorite artists from like a long time ago, like the late 80s, early 90s, but his voice is just magical to me. And his name is Michael McDonald. And he's going to be in town on Monday at the Smart Financial Center out in Sugar Land. Like, it's so many events popping off at that venue now, which is good. That's a dope look for an outside city like Sugar Land. It's like really close to Houston, but just far enough to give you a different feel. So I've been to that venue, really, really nice venue. So I wish I would have known about this earlier. I always say that I could have put it in my budget, but we all know how that budget goes. It just never really happens like that. But yeah, so if you like Michael McDonald, check him out. So what are y'all listening to? There's a lot of music out there in the world, and I feel like I just never can just really just truly catch up, and it makes me a little bit sad, but what are you going to... So next up, who I want to highlight, but I'm not going to play the song, but I'll have the link in the podcast notes, is Jay Electronica. And he released a song earlier this week called A Letter to Fallon, and we find out that is his sister. And so I'll have that link in the notes, and his sister's name is not spelled like my name. It's spelled F-A-L-O-N, so just one L. And so it's a really, really good song as well. And so I'll have that song in the notes. And another artist that I want to talk about, but I'm not going to play the song, is from Earth Gang. And if you're like a crazy Dreamville fan, then you know that these are some really dope artists, and they've worked with a lot of the Dreamville artists. And so definitely check out the song. And they released a song earlier this week called Mary. And so basically the song, it explains them trying to find themselves, basically. And so they walk us through that narrative. And I just really like the song. It is a different feel, but if you like different stuff, then you should be open to it. So check that out. And one of my favorite like new artists, Daniel Caesar, he tweeted out yesterday that he's dropping 2 new songs today on Beats One Radio, and that should have been done a couple of hours ago. So of course I don't have any information as of right now recording this podcast. But if I find it, I'll put it in the podcast notes. But I'm definitely ready to hear more music from him. I played at least 1 or 2 of his songs early on like my first few episodes as far as songs that I'm listening to. So check him out if you don't know his music. He's really, really dope.
Top five.
So top five. And for the top 5 segment today, I wanted to find 5 ways to stay positive every single day. And so I do my search and I come up with these items, these takeaway items for you to help have a positive day. Number 5, reach out and help someone. And I've told one of my friends this recently, like, you know, it's good to help other people when you're down or you're sad, having a bad day, because you can feed off of their energy by making them feel better. So I'm definitely an advocate of talking through your issues and, yeah, helping other people. Number 4, ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen? Yeah, if you can live to fight another day, then that's it. You don't have to worry about anything else. Nothing else even matters, like literally. Number 3, make a mental or written list of positive things you've done recently. And that's another way to build yourself up. There again, going back to my positivity jar that I keep every single year. Or get you a journal and just, hey, I woke up today. Hey, I smiled today. Hey, I made it. I'm at home, safe and sound. Like, just take honor in the little things, and it'll make you feel better. 2, remember, this too shall pass. That's from the good book. Number 1, keep a journal of gratitude. And I'll put a little pin in that because I have something that I want to share in regards to the number 1 item on this list. So yeah, stay tuned. I'll be probably posting a video or something about that. And so I definitely want to share more of that. So yeah, so these are some very good tips in order to have a good positive day every single day. This is something like, you know, if I was on my Mary Jane tip, I would just write this down and put it on my mirror. So every morning when I get up, I would see it. Or I would put it on my vision board. So yeah, so I can see it. Or if you're like me, because I got this from the internet, take a screenshot of it so I can look at it whenever I'm down to help build my day back up. We must empower ourselves. We must empower ourselves with knowledge. We can't be afraid of knowledge. Knowledge is free. Knowledge will always be here. We have to know where we came from so we can stand firmly in where we are going and have the boldest confidence. Dropping jewels. So last week I didn't have anything for dropping jewels, but this week I have something that really just took my attention when I saw it, because there again, this is stuff they don't teach you in Black history, in the normal Black history classes. Not even like in college classes have I ever heard this particular topic be talked about and expanded on. And this is a term that we've used all our lives. It's a term that we just never probably would have thought it had the connection to slavery. And we've all participated when we were kids, probably in a cakewalk. And, you know, we thought we understood what it meant, but I saw a post on Twitter and that's where it started for me. And I had to really research it for myself to just really dive in and get a better understanding on what a cakewalk really is. And so basically some masters would have cakewalks, and basically the slaves, they would dance and jig, and, you know, the best couple or person who did the best that night would win a piece of cake or a whole cake. And this took place during the pre-Civil War era. and it was originally performed by slaves on plantation grounds, and it was first known as the prize walk because you would get a cake at the end. And then basically that's how we get the narrative of a cakewalk being easy, because you just think about, you're just dancing, or if you're a kid, it was basically like almost like musical chairs. Like every time I did a cakewalk, and you would just walk around, it was literally a cakewalk, and you would just be eliminated until you got to the last one, right? But we get phrases like that takes the cake, and so that's just a play off of the winner taking home the cake. And you just never would think or connect the dots that this goes all the way back to the slaves dancing and everything to win a cake. And so it blew my mind when I first saw the picture, and then when I did the research, and my mind was blown, because there again, for me, this is just like another example of slaves or black people performing for their slave masters. And that made me feel some type of way, because it's just like, is anything really innocent at this point, as far as from back then when we had slaves and everything? And the cakewalks, like, they even got so popular that they had a national championship at the Madison Square Garden. That's major. That is major. And so cakewalks, they became very, very popular, and it led to a new genre of music called ragtime. And of course, there again, black people, they made something popular. And so after it got popular, the music and the cakewalks, the white people, they wanted to go ahead and take control of it. And so during this time period, it was also a black duo that went around performing at the cakewalks. They became very popular, and even though they were black, they performed in blackface. And when I kept reading, and the reason why they said they performed in blackface was because they wanted to be able to tell the difference between the white performers and the black performers, which was still really weird unless the two men, because they didn't have the pictures, unless the two men were like light-skinned black people. Because to me, if you're a black person, you're going to be darker than a white person. So maybe that was the catch-22, that they felt like they had to wear blackface because they were too light to pass as black. And so another thing that really disappointed me was their name. And so the name of this black duo that went around performing, they were called the Two Real Coons. And I just thought, oh my gosh, why would you name yourself that, right? And basically they said they named themselves that because they would get noticed, and so they could get booked and get paid for shows because of that name. And I was just like, so basically these good white people hired you because you named yourself something that they probably were already calling you, or what black people were calling you, because you were jigging for the white man. And I don't know how I felt about that. But if you don't know anything about what a cakewalk is, or if you want to just do more research on your own, NPR.org, they have a really, really good article, and that's where I got some of my information from. And then of course just a regular old Google search and looking up information. And so I'll have the link in my podcast notes so you can find it there. And I just want to leave you with another tidbit of positivity. And of course, I found this quote on Tumblr, and it says, "I have always liked quiet people. You never know if they're simply dancing in a daydream or if they're carrying the weight of the world." I can say, like most quiet people, they are typically always thinking, observing, because that's what I do. When I'm very, very quiet, I'm just taking everything in that I can possibly take in. So that's all I have. And so this show wasn't really long, but I feel like I had so much to say, but I didn't do all of my normal segments and everything. And so got through a little bit earlier, which is great because I am a little tired. And so I hope you enjoyed this show. And like I said, every week I plan to get better and better. I'm hoping that possibly I'm going to have a special guest on an upcoming episode. It may not be like a regular Friday episode, but I'm hoping to get the opportunity to record an episode with my ex-boyfriend, and I think it's going to be really good. And so hopefully we can coordinate that this weekend or sometime soon so I can drop that special episode. All I will say about that, it will be nothing but a bunch of shenanigans and a whole bunch of laughing. And yeah, it'll probably be one of the best episodes. So be on the lookout for that sometime soon. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for visiting my website. Thank you for following me on Twitter. But just help me still continue to get the word out. Follow me on Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, my Twitter name is Pretty and Smart 81. That's Pretty, the letter N, 81. I'm sorry. It's Pretty, the letter N, and Smart 81. Yeah, I've done too much today. So yeah, that's my name, Pretty and Smart 81. Follow me on Instagram, OhYouThoughtFallon, and that is Fallon. That's how you spell my name. What else? Where else am I? Subscribe to me on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, everywhere that you would like to listen. Please subscribe, comment, and share. If you have anything you want to say to me, if you want to ask me questions, if you want me to give you advice on anything, email me at OhYouThoughtFallon@gmail.com. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. And I'll see y'all next week. Until next time, remember to glow up, bless up, stay prayed up, and hold it down.
Hold it down. Hold it down. We gon' hold it down. We gon' hold it down. Hold it down. Hold it down. We gon' hold it down. South gon' hold it down.